Blog Talk Radio.
I saw a cloud today. I watched it change its shape into a dinosaur, a whale, a mermaid, and a plane. The mermaid was pregnant, and then it turned into a Doberman, and the Doberman just turned back into the sky. Then I saw a real plane flying awfully low, man, dropping toxic chemicals all over my town. Said to help us.
That's right, Ian Hannawalt. Thank you for giving us that song, Dusty Old Chemtrails. Definitely a favorite of mine, and those of us in the Southern California area have been seeing awful lot of those, pesky contrails around lately, haven't we? There's many things to say about that. But I want to thank everyone for showing up today, and hope everyone is feeling groovy and doing well. And once again, thank you for tuning in to my show here. I figured that so much has changed in this week, and from the feedback I was getting, people wanted to know who the hell I was and why the hell they should care what the hell I have to say, which is cool, because I think if I was in most people's positions, checking out Aaron's stuff and Aaron delivering the information, it's like, who the hell is this guy thinking he can step in and fill in when in Big A's shoes, you know? It's like, yeah, I really can't. I'm not here to replace Aaron, obviously. But Aaron, wanted to make a team, and that's what he did, and that's what we're here to do now. And so, he had us a call for action, and so when he was looking for volunteers, like I told the Universal Truth Evolution team members that, I had the biggest ego in the room and decided to say, hey, I'll take it. Because I know I can use that perception of I at this moment and never changing to benefit people in a lot of ways, similar to what Aaron does, utilizing what Aaron's built. So once again, thank all of you for tuning in to the Universal Truth Evolution Blog Talk Radio channel. There's a little bit I'm going to talk about, which is who I am, how I got hooked up with Aaron, and pretty much what kind of formatting I'll do on my show. Roger will be having a show for sure on the Universal Truth Evolution channel, and we're still working out everything right now. I'm really kind of the anchor, the temporary anchor, just kind of carrying the torch, and then once we get everything settled, you guys will obviously be the first to know. But today is a little bit about me, what I'm going to share. So I'll jump right into it. As many of you know, I am Jerry Avalos. I am from Southern California, and will probably stay here for as long as I'm here at Camp Human. And when I say Camp Human, I mean this planet Earth as we recognize it here in this dimension. And so we're all here to learn stuff, and we all kind of whine and complain while we're incarnated. But then we always just say, oh, my God, I want to go back. So I call it Camp Human, one of the reasons. But how I really kind of came about even just being where I'm at right now, obviously, is through Aaron and kind of following his work. And just like many of you out there, when I first saw his first interview on Project Camelot, I had this instant recognition, and I'm just like, I'm going to meet this guy. And then I heard, oh, you're in Pasadena. Oh, I'm definitely going to meet you, Aaron. And I am, as some of you may know, I am a natural-born lucid dreamer, meaning more often than not, I am aware that I am dreaming while I am dreaming. That's just kind of one take on what lucid dreaming means, but this is kind of a general one I'm giving right now. But you can actually utilize that as a quote-unquote psychic sense, too. I'll be talking a lot about that. It's going to be an ongoing subject of my shows. But anyways, I had my own view into, Aaron's situation. I was like, oh, wow, this is going to be interesting. And sure enough, Aaron and I met. We met after through a mutual friend who runs the Mind, Body, Spirit Business Network, which puts on different speaking events every month, usually, of different speakers within these kind of realms. and we had approached Aaron with doing his first speaking event. And when he agreed, and actually eventually that video will be available. There's just some technical difficulties with it right now. But long story short, before that happened, Aaron and I sat down and we did the video that we ended up calling The Essential Story of Aaron McCollum, which is really kind of like, as we said, a sort of like the table of contents in the book of Aaron McCollum up to this point, in a sense, leaving out like a lot of the really early stuff and kind of jumping right into like, why the hell are you here, Aaron? And how are you not dead? And stuff like that. Just very pertinent things. So that was our project together, and we had stayed in contact, and cause we got along well, and we're friends, and my wife and I actually recently attended Aaron's wedding, and I was the cameraman and amongst things, and Aaron and I are good buddies, and because we got into a lot of subjects during, especially that night when we did that filming. They were very heavy. That got into all kinds of things, including like what Aaron shared about Seagate, but then stuff like the Omega Project, and just a lot of our own understanding of how we see this possible future playing out. And we agreed on a lot of stuff, and we had a lot of familiar ties, shall we say, with certain entities, as we'll call them, like the Arcturians, and through my astral travels, I had kind of come in contact with all kinds of different beings, both kinds of heavens, shall we say, and so Aaron and I, like I said, we had this great conversation about things, and in my way, through some of the things I do and collect data on my astral travel, shall I say, I was able to show Aaron some things, and he's able to verify some stuff, which I thought was really intriguing. And so, in a sense, that's kind of in a way where I was showing Aaron what I was doing, and on that level, on that sort of psychic level, if you will, and he respected what I was doing. So, we got along well, and we've been working together in a sense ever since. Not necessarily me as part of the Universal Truth Evolution team, because we kind of recognize that we have our paths would eventually collide in a sense in this endeavor together, but it just wasn't at that time. But anyways, so that's really is how I got to know Aaron, and that's kind of why I'm here now, really as a trusted friend and co-collaborator on a couple of projects. And I've always been, just like as you guys in the chat room and listening to the show, I was always just listening to the show, giving support, because we need more people talking about all these subjects that all of us really do find important. And so in the chat room, actually, while I'm on that subject, you guys chime up when you want to, just like how Aaron did with all caps. If you want me to touch upon a certain subject today, by all means. One thing I did notice about the Blog Talk Radio account is that it does archive more than 30 minutes. So if there is a subject that any of you guys wanted me to elaborate on after it stops streaming, let me know, and I'll go ahead and elaborate on that, and it'll be available in the archives too, because I am going to get into stuff like what's in the Forbidden Vault and how it correlates to like some of the data that I was showing Aaron, because it gets into things like what really is remote viewing and such, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, so as far as who I am, as I said, I'm natural born lucid dreamer. So when I was young, I had a lot of experiences that I didn't recognize what they were when they're happening to me. But it had to do a lot with this astral projections, out-of-body experiences, precognitive dreams, all kinds of wackiness ensued all throughout my life that I thought was just normal. And so to me, everyone will have to forgive me a little bit sometimes because I don't realize that it's like I really didn't realize until recently that people go to workshops to learn to do what I kind of always just did. And so I don't mean to say that to be like, oh, look at me, how badass I am. No, it's actually just kind of how it was. I'd be lying if I told you my life was any other way. But it's true. So all this time I was, astral planing, as one of my very good friends likes to call lucid dreaming, through just through time and space, if we will, and I realized too that over time that I was developing more and more awareness in my dreams and of other things. I thought it was all my imagination, but I think as a lot of us know now, or we're beginning to become aware of, that thing we think is our imagination isn't necessarily that. It can get we compartmentalize it a lot of times with that as just being our imagination, or we write it off as that, but it's not always true. So, for instance, Ed, I see your question there about good lucid dreaming books. Actually, it's kind of a great segue there, so thank you for asking that, because one of the experiences I had that really made me become aware of, what everyone was talking about when they said lucid dreaming was a book called Exploring the World of Lucid Dreaming by Stephen LeBerg. And actually, if you give me a second, I will post that in the chat room. But that book is actually a step-by-step manual of how to really kind of what I call walk yourself into the lucid state, like really having an intense focus and building a dream around your awareness as you fall asleep. That would be that's one technique, and it's really getting your conscious mind engaged. And when I was reading this book, I'm like, wow, this is something that I've been doing all my life and didn't realize it. And I'm like, wow, this is actually a thorough manual of how to really utilize lucid dreaming in a lot of very practical ways. And I'm like, this is a very good book. I'm like, if I was to write a book on this method of lucid dreaming, this is the book I would write. So you guys can consider that an endorsement, including any of those people who might be listening. That's excellent material there. It's an excellent handbook of how to really start exploring the world of lucid dreaming. But there's definitely more to it, as I knew at one point, because I knew at one point what was going on in this book. And so for me, I didn't recognize that what was going on really. It's like, wow, it couldn't be that easy to me, right? Because I just didn't understand. And so I'm just like, okay, well, if this is true, then I should be able to induce my own dream and see what I want to see, just like any other night. And so I actually did do a classic sort of guided meditation on myself of going into the forest of unknowns, and also I was getting really metaphoric because it has to do with the dream language. And I actually did encounter a version of my future self, which I thought, which really kind of just shook my reality a little bit, because I'm like, oh, wow. Okay, so not only did it's like, yes, it is, we are talking about the same thing, Stephen LeBerg and I, but I'm also being a future version of myself. So this is interesting. And actually, I do have a video account of that online on my YouTube channel. But right now, I actually do have a good friend on the line with me now. And Roger, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Hear you loud and clear there, buddy.
Right on. I'm doing all right. I just wanted to take a moment to say, if you didn't mind. Yeah, okay, thank you. Folks, I did speak with Mr. Aaron McCollum briefly last night in Skype, and he has given consent for me to, take over the air chair for him, and we're going to be speaking again tomorrow sometime. And as most of the remaining UTE team knows, I am trying to set up a meeting for this coming weekend, so everyone has input and we can all come together as a collective and work as a team and move as a team. That's what's happening right now. Jerry, you're doing a killer job, brother, with doing what you're doing right now. We're going to need to speak about future shows and things of that sort, accounts on Blog Talk or wherever else. But there are some major things right now in the works, as a matter of fact. And folks, I'm here to say that Mr. Aaron McCollum is not totally gone. But he, for the time being, he is giving us his well wishes to carry on with UTE, and I'm very happy that he has given us his blessing, because quite honestly, folks, that's what I was waiting for before I acted on anything. And I hope you all understand my decision to wait until Aaron spoke about what was going to be taking place. But Jerry, what say you on what's going on? Because you've already had a little bit of a brief glimpse into what's going to be happening.
Oh yeah, I think this is great because that you and Aaron actually finally connected, because I was actually surprised. Just to let people know, the communication there during the switch was obviously a little bit broken. So some people were informed of things before others were, and so not that anyone intended any malicious anything, really.
Exactly.
Everyone was just trying to do what they thought was right at the time.
Right.
And so as far as Roger knew, I could have been lying. So because it was only Aaron and I who talked directly about the show just kind of going on, so to speak, until we get things really kind of cemented in. And so, and I always did envision you, Roger, being the one, at the reins at this thing for the most part. As I told you before, I'd love to have a show of some regularity, and I have some ideas that even for like a late night show,
right.
Too.
Right, and just to give some folks a couple of ideas here, what I was thinking about, Jerry, because honestly, I'm not looking to pull rank at all whatsoever. But what I am looking at right now is to have everyone, you, me, and whomever else would like to host a show, but we'll have things set up. Have things set up at a certain time that you go on the air and everything else, and everybody will have a password and or whatever to get into the account. I do see some very good things happening, and no, I know you're not lying about Aaron speaking to you at all either, but I was just waiting to hear from him also, since I was his co-host, and and I'm really happy about this. We're bringing some people together, and everything right now I am looking at. I'm looking at working with the team diplomatically. Everyone has a voice, not just one person.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, so to me, like I said, this whole situation went on, and I know that, I hear a lot of people's concerns about, this really being one of the only places they can get information about this subject. And so that was my concern. My main concern is always the sharing of this information, the truth, really. Because that is the big picture. I mean, everything else is just kind of like whatever, drama, stupid, lame. Okay.
Right, exactly. And if everybody is, there was some concern also about people being followers of Aaron. Now, I can understand this because, he doesn't want followers. He wants people who are doers. He wants people to work with him side by side. And that's what I was waiting to hear about. I knew I was going to hear from him eventually, and I'm glad that he chimed in yesterday, just briefly, but he did. And I hope he has some time to discuss things further tomorrow because I would like to run some ideas past him and see what he has to say. But like I said, everything that we speak about tomorrow will be shared in the meeting for those UTE members, who decide to show up for the meeting, because I understand, how hurt some people still are, and there are still raw feelings between people right now, and I really don't want that. I want everything to work out for the best outcome of all involved, and that has been my intention from the get-go. So yeah, Jerry needs your microphone, Roger. You know what, Jerry? I was going to bring up some tips about some really decent headphones with a stereo mic also, because that's what I'm using right now.
Actually, I appreciate that, because I'm not set up for phone stuff. Actually, if I can go through maybe through Skype at one point, because I have a good setup for that audio, but not through the phone. So I appreciate any input on that one, actually. So.
Sure, no problem. I do have a tutorial somewhere that I downloaded. I can send you the PDF document. It's a tutorial on how to run Skype through. Run the Blog Talk Studio through Skype. That's how you'll be logging in.
Oh, okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm even now. I know I've heard the recordings, and actually there's some problems with the phone lines here, just because it's interesting. We're in an unincorporated part in the middle of the city,
right?
So we have this odd sort of thing with our utilities going on here, but anyways, this is great, because I knew it was going to take us a good this week to make sense of everything,
mm-hmm.
and I think that the way. You know radio, so it's not like you don't know how to do a show. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
And there's a lot of things that I'm doing, and so I know that I knew this was going to work out great, just because I know both of us have ideas about everything, and so I know other people do too. And
mm-hmm.
so I think it's awesome. If someone has an idea for a show, please let us know.
Yes, definitely. And go. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, even as just like a segment, if someone has been doing research on something, and you think it might fit, my topics or Roger's topics or just anyone or whatever, and I also see us, Roger, it would be fun to do some shows together on certain things like we did with Jeff. I thought that was outstanding.
Oh yes, I agree as well. I'm not saying that I wouldn't be showing up in some way, shape, or form on somebody else's day, because hey, brother, we're all a family here, okay, and that's the way it needs to stay. We don't need anyone getting big heads about anything. I'm the shit, basically. We don't need that kind of attitude. What we need are people to work together.
Absolutely, yes, and because it's really the collective that all of us really have been striving for. I mean, because I think all of us, how we, beyond everything, we always wanted to have some people to relate to that see beyond the illusion. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Precisely.
We gotta remember that commonality that we have to really bring us together.
Yes.
Absolutely. So this is it's great, and so this is very cool, and I really look forward to hearing what you have in mind for shows, your show, and I mean, because I was even thinking about how I'm sure that we can, if you have a show that focuses on one thing, it'll have a name, and so will I. Because I'm thinking about a late night show that's just completely it's marked explicit on Blog Talk, where it doesn't matter what you say.
Right.
And where I'm going to prompt everyone to take everything here that's said here with a grain of salt, because it's going to come at you. In a very zany sense, but on very serious topics.
Oh, yeah. You can have a title like, "Oh, you think the powers that be are screwing with you now? Just wait." That's the thing. Because there's a lot of stuff we can get to. And actually, Aaron, he knows what I'm talking about when I say this, especially that, some of my very close friends and bandmates actually. We're almost really more of we almost think a lot like a little business in a lot of ways anyways with what we do, but we want to do a cartoon that kind of helps, satirize a lot of the stuff that's going on, because no one's really doing it, right? Mm-hmm.
And so we already have like we want bring that sort of that satire to everyone in some way, and I think this late night show is going to be kind of like a version of that, where it's people like us talking and just having fun, even though knowing that it's like, yes, it's some dastardly stuff going on, but it's like we have to take that anger, we have to take that that gnarly stuff and turn it into something better.
Yes, we do.
And so, and we already kind of see this with even shows like Family Guy, The Simpsons. For within their own bandwidth of awareness, they actually do bring a lot of stuff to the table that most people don't want to look at.
Right.
And so, in a sense, what we're doing here is making like a more hardcore version of that.
Right. Yes, we are, and folks, we're going to be doing a lot of cool things. We have Mr. Benjamin Murphy, who is also part of the team now, and he also has contacts as well. So, any of you out there that have any contacts or have any kind of have any contacts or any ideas, you can shoot them to Jerry. What's your email?
Jerry at whoslucidwhatnow.com.
All right, and my email.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do that too here. Mine's a rather long one, but
so while Roger's doing that, for everyone else listening, because I know the show is getting close to the end. What'll happen here is I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit longer of a show after the streaming stops.
Right.
And I don't know, Roger, do we want to confer about ideas for tomorrow? But because I actually do have a topic that we can go off on.
Sure. Yeah. That would be great.
I was going to get into the vault actually, and I was going to actually post something from the Forbidden Vault, and we're going to get into some remote viewing stuff is what I wanted to do.
Sure.
Maybe we can get into that meat and potatoes of it tomorrow, and I'll just kind of in the archive kind of put some of the links and stuff up for people who want to study up for tomorrow, I guess.
Right. I guess we're having a massive sound delay. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because it's a free account right now. But
yeah.
But okay. So sure. Do you still want to record after this is up here? The time is up.
Well, I guess maybe we can just cut it today, and then we can just jump right into it tomorrow.
Well, if you want, you can get a hold of me in Skype as well, because I have that on every day.
Okay.
Okay. And folks, my email address is there. If you have people guest ideas, you have connections to music, because I would still like to keep things in a similar vein as to Aaron's show. We need music about topics that we're speaking about. Okay, turn us on to it, and you can send everything to Jerry's email address or mine, Roger@universaltruthevolution.com. And I hope we can all pull together, folks, all of us, not just a few, but all of us together. Everyone in the chat room, everyone who hears this archived show. It's about us pulling together.
Yeah, definitely, Roger. And yeah, we'll definitely be building our library of music here. Right now, all I have is dusty old chemtrails and actually a little side project of mine called The Dead Shaman. But we're about here out of time here. So but thank you everyone for listening. It's been a great show. This is cool that everyone got to see a little bit of everything really quick.
Yeah.
So and hope everyone has an awesome time. And we have about a minute left here. So
right on. Is there anything you would like to say?
Just thank everyone. Thank the team. Thank everyone listening and chatting. We gotta keep this thing going. It's gonna be awesome.
Yes, we do. And I'm glad that we're actually doing it now with Aaron's consent.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jerry, for everything. I don't know how many seconds do we have left in the studio at all, because neither one of us are in there. So.
Actually, I am. It's like, but it's pretty much going to be off air in a second now. So,
okay.
But all right, Roger. Well, we'll continue tomorrow. So
sure.
I'll play us out here with one of the tunes. So.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Jerry.
10 seconds here, guys. See you later. Thank you, everyone.
Yep.